I spent 8 months teaching an AI system everything I knew. Every algorithm I'd developed, every analysis framework I'd perfected, every client communication strategy I'd refined over 15 years. And when I walked into the HR office on November 17, 2023, my manager smiled and said, "Cassie, your position is no longer needed. The AI can handle your workload now." They offered me 2 weeks severance after 15 years of service. That's when I realized they hadn't just fired me. They'd stolen my life's work, turned it into a product, and replaced me with a digital copy of myself. My name is Cassie Thornton. I'm 42 years old, and until November 2023, I was a senior data analyst at TechCore Solutions in Austin, Texas. I'd worked there since 2008, straight out of graduate school with my master's in data science from UT Austin. Over 15 years, I'd built the company's entire analytics framework from the ground up. I'd developed proprietary algorithms for predictive modeling. I'd created custom templates for client reports. I'd designed methodologies for data visualization that became TechCore's signature approach. I made $180,000 a year, and I was good at my job. Really good. TechCore wasn't a tech giant. We were a mid-sized consulting firm specializing in data analytics for healthcare and insurance companies. We had about 200 employees, mostly analysts, engineers, and sales staff. Our clients paid us to analyze their data and provide insights that helped them make better business decisions. My role was to lead complex analysis projects, mentor junior analysts, and develop the methods that made our insights valuable. I loved my job. I loved the puzzle of turning raw data into meaningful stories. I loved mentoring young analysts, watching them grow from nervous new hires into confident professionals. I loved seeing my frameworks get implemented across the company, knowing that my work had impact. In March 2023, our CEO Richard Keller called an all-hands meeting to announce an exciting new initiative. "Team," Richard said, standing at the front of our conference room with his usual polished enthusiasm, "we're entering a new era. TechCore is investing in artificial intelligence. We're building a system called DataMind that will augment our analytics team, making all of you more efficient and effective." Augment. That word was important. He didn't say replace. He said augment. "We need our best people to help train this system," Richard continued. "Cassie Thornton, our senior data analyst, will be leading the training effort. Cassie, your expertise will be crucial in teaching DataMind how we do analysis here at TechCore." Everyone applauded. I felt proud. I'd been chosen to shape the future of the company. Richard pulled me aside after the meeting. "Cassie, this is going to be huge for your career. You'll be the person who bridges human expertise and AI capability. When DataMind launches, you'll be positioned as the expert who made it possible." "What exactly will I be doing?" I asked. "Training the AI. Uploading your methods, your templates, your frameworks. We want DataMind to analyze data the way you do, with your insight, your precision, your style. Think of it as creating a digital assistant that thinks like you." It sounded incredible. A digital assistant that could handle the routine analysis while I focused on high-level strategy and complex problems. More efficiency, more impact, more value. "I'm in," I said. Over the next 8 months, I poured my entire professional life into training DataMind. I uploaded every analysis I'd ever done, 15 years of reports, presentations, and data models. I documented my algorithms, explaining the logic behind each calculation and decision tree. I created video tutorials walking through my process for different types of analysis. I wrote detailed guides on my client communication strategies, including the specific phrases I used to explain complex findings in accessible language. I uploaded 8,947 documents, reports I'd written, email templates I'd developed, client presentation frameworks I'd designed, methodology guides I'd created for training junior analysts, every piece of intellectual work I'd produced in 15 years. The AI team, led by our CTO, Marcus Webb, encouraged me to be thorough. "The more you give it, the better it gets," Marcus said. "Don't hold anything back. This is going to revolutionize how we work." I didn't hold anything back. I spent hours recording myself, talking through analysis problems, explaining my thought process as I worked through data sets. I documented the intuitive leaps I made when spotting patterns, trying to translate 15 years of experience into teachable logic. By July 2023, DataMind was producing analysis that looked remarkably like mine. The phrasing was similar. The structure matched my reports. The conclusions reflected my analytical approach. "Cassie, this is incredible," Marcus said during a demo in August. "Look at this output. It's like you wrote it yourself." I felt proud. I'd successfully transferred my expertise to an AI system. I'd made myself more valuable by making the company more capable. I was also mentoring a junior analyst named Blake Morrison. Blake had joined TechCore in 2020, and I'd taken him under my wing. He was 26, smart, eager to learn, and he reminded me of myself at that age. Over 3 years, I'd taught him everything I knew. He shadowed me on client calls. I walked him through my analysis process. I gave him feedback on his reports, showing him how to refine his conclusions and sharpen his communication. Blake was always taking notes. He'd sit in our mentoring sessions with his laptop open, documenting everything I said. "I want to remember all of this," he'd say. "You've developed such a unique approach, Cassie. I'm learning so much." I was flattered. Teaching Blake felt like passing on a legacy. In October 2023, Richard called another all-hands meeting. "Team, I'm thrilled to announce that DataMind is ready to launch. Starting next month, we'll be rolling out what we're calling Cassie-Bot, an AI system that can perform senior-level data analysis using the methodologies developed by our own Cassie Thornton." Cassie-Bot. They'd named it after me. Richard showed demos of the AI analyzing datasets and producing reports. The reports used my exact frameworks, my visualization styles, my signature phrases. There was even a feature where the AI could generate emails to clients in my communication style, complete with the specific explanations and analogies I used to make complex data accessible. "This is going to transform our business model," Richard said. "We can now offer Cassie's level of expertise to all our clients at a fraction of the cost." I felt uneasy. Something about seeing my methods replicated so exactly felt strange. But Richard assured everyone this was good news. "This frees up our senior analysts to focus on higher-level strategic work. We're augmenting the team, not replacing it." 1 week later, on November 17, 2023, I was called into HR. Sarah Chen, our HR director, sat across from me with a sympathetic expression. Marcus Webb, the CTO, was there too. "No, Richard." "Cassie, we need to talk about your role," Sarah said. My stomach dropped. "As you know, DataMind has been extremely successful. The AI can now handle the analysis work that was previously your primary responsibility. We've evaluated the workflow, and the reality is that your position is no longer necessary. The AI can manage your workload." I stared at her. "You're firing me?" "We're restructuring. Your role is being eliminated. We're offering you 2 week severance plus continuation of benefits through the end of December." 2 weeks? My voice came out sharp. "I've worked here for 15 years. Company policy provides 1 week per 5 years of service," Sarah said, reading from a document. "You're receiving the standard package. I just spent 8 months training the AI that's replacing me. I uploaded 15 years of my work, my methods, my frameworks, everything I've built here." "Which we appreciate," Marcus said. "But the business reality is that we can't justify a $180,000 salary for work that AI can now do." "This isn't personal, Cassie. It's economics." "What about the other senior analysts?" I asked. Sarah and Marcus exchanged a glance. "Other positions may be evaluated as we continue rolling out DataMind." They handed me termination paperwork. I was to clear out my desk by the end of the day. My access to company systems would be terminated at 5 p.m. I walked back to my desk in a daze. 15 years. Gone. Replaced by an AI I'd trained myself. Blake Morrison was at his desk near mine. When he saw my face, he looked away quickly. "Did you know?" I asked him. He didn't answer. "Blake, did you know they were going to fire me?" "Cassie, I'm sorry," he said quietly. "I didn't think you knew." He didn't deny it. I packed my personal items into a cardboard box, photos of my kids, a coffee mug my team had given me for my 10-year anniversary, awards I'd won for outstanding performance. 15 years reduced to 1 box. As I was leaving, I passed the conference room where Richard was presenting to the board. Through the glass wall, I saw a slide on the screen. DataMind revenue projections, $15 million annual from AI licensing. They weren't just replacing me. They were selling my methods. I drove home to my apartment in South Austin and sat in my car for 20 minutes before going inside. My husband Daniel was working from home. He was a middle school teacher. When I walked in carrying my box, he knew immediately. They fired you? The AI can do my job now. They don't need me. After 15 years? Cassie, that's insane. What about severance? What about 2 weeks? Daniel put his arms around me and let me cry into his shoulder. I'd never felt so betrayed in my life. Not just fired, erased. Replaced by a digital version of myself that they owned. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about data mined, about Cassie-Bot, about how the AI used my exact phrasing, my signature methodologies, my frameworks. Those methods were mine. I'd developed them. Some during work hours, yes, but many during evenings and weekends when I was thinking through problems. I'd refined them through years of trial and error. They were the product of my creativity, my experience, my intellectual labor. And TechCore had taken all of it, turned it into a product, and fired me. At 2 a.m., I opened my laptop and started researching intellectual property law. By morning, I'd found Derek Lansing, an intellectual property attorney in Austin who specialized in tech worker rights. His website had articles about employee-created IP, trade secrets, and wrongful termination. I called his office at 8:30 a.m. when they opened. Mr. Lansing, my name is Cassie Thornton. I was just fired after training an AI to do my job using 15 years of my proprietary methods. I think my company stole my intellectual property. Derek asked me to come in that afternoon. In his office, a modern space in downtown Austin, I walked Derek through everything. The 8 months of training, the 8,947 documents I'd uploaded, the algorithms and frameworks I'd developed, the fact that the AI mimicked my exact style and methodology. Did you sign an intellectual property agreement when you were hired? Derek asked. Yes, standard boilerplate. Anything created during work hours using company resources belongs to the company. But you said you developed many of these methods outside work hours? Yes. Some of my best insights came when I was thinking through problems at home, on weekends, during my commute. I'd develop frameworks on my own time and then implement them at work. And did the company ever formally patent or copyright your specific methods? I thought about it. I don't know. They use them internally, but I never signed anything that specifically transferred ownership of my algorithms or frameworks. Derek leaned back in his chair. Cassie, this is complicated territory. Normally, work product belongs to employers. But if you developed unique proprietary methods that constitute original intellectual property, especially outside work hours, and the company is now commercially exploiting those methods without compensation, we might have a case. What kind of case? Intellectual property theft, wrongful termination, possibly fraud if they intentionally had you train the AI knowing they planned to fire you. We'd need to prove that your methods constitute protectable IP, that the AI is using those methods without proper compensation to you, and that the company acted in bad faith. How do we prove that? We'll need a forensic tech expert to analyze the AI's outputs and compare them to your original work. We'll need documentation of when and how you developed your methods, and we'll need access to company communications about the AI project and your termination. Can you do this? I asked. I can try. But Cassie, this is going to be expensive, time-consuming, and uncertain. IP law is complicated. Companies usually win these cases because they have better lawyers and more resources. I don't care, I said. They stole my life's work. They replaced me with a copy of myself. I'm not going to just walk away. Derek nodded slowly. Then let's get started. Step 1 was hiring a tech forensics expert. Derek recommended Haley Wu, a computer scientist who specialized in analyzing AI systems and their training data. Haley had testified in several high-profile cases involving algorithmic bias and data theft. I met Haley at a coffee shop in East Austin on December 3, 2023. She was in her 30s, sharp-eyed and direct. Tell me about this AI, Haley said. I explained data mined, how I'd trained it, what it could do. I showed her examples of the AI's outputs that I'd saved before losing access to company systems. Haley studied them carefully. These match your style exactly? Word for word in some cases. That's sloppy on their part. If they were smart, they would have had the AI vary its outputs to obscure the connection to your work. The fact that it's mimicking you so precisely actually helps us prove derivative creation. Can you analyze the AI without access to TechCore systems? Not fully. But if you can get me access through legal discovery, I can trace the AI's training data and demonstrate how much of its capability derives from your proprietary work. If it's as close as you say, we should be able to prove that 90+% of its outputs are based on your IP. Derek filed a lawsuit against TechCore Solutions on December 18, 2023. The complaint alleged intellectual property theft, wrongful termination, fraud, and breach of contract. We asked for $4.5 million in damages, 3 years of my salary plus compensation for stolen IP, plus punitive damages. TechCore's response was immediate and aggressive. Their attorneys, a big firm called Morrison & Price, filed a motion to dismiss, arguing that I had no claim to any work product created during my employment. We went through months of discovery. Derek subpoenaed company documents, emails, and communications related to data mined and my termination. TechCore fought every request claiming trade secrets and proprietary information. But in March 2024, we got a breakthrough. One of TechCore's junior employees, a woman named Sarah Patel, who'd been part of the AI development team, reached out to Derek. She'd been laid off in January 2024 when TechCore did another round of AI-driven restructuring. She was angry and wanted to help. Sarah provided internal emails and documents that told the whole story. Richard Keller, the CEO, and Marcus Webb, the CTO, had been planning this for 2 years. In emails from April 2021, they discussed their long-term strategy: identify high-salary senior employees, extract their proprietary methods through AI training, then eliminate their positions, and sell the AI capabilities to other companies. One email from Richard to Marcus, dated May 12, 2021, said, "We need to find a way to bottle what makes Cassie valuable and turn it into a scalable product. Once we extract her methodology, we can eliminate the $180K salary line item and license her expertise to dozens of clients for millions in recurring revenue." Another email from November 2022 outlined the specific plan for me. Marcus wrote, "We'll position the DataMine project as career development for Cassie, make her feel valued and essential, get her to upload everything, every template, every algorithm, every method. Once the AI masters her approach, we terminate her position and redirect her salary toward AI infrastructure costs. Net savings, $180K annually plus elimination of benefits. Revenue potential, $15 million from AI licensing." But the most damaging evidence was about Blake Morrison. In an email from March 2021, Richard wrote to Marcus, "We need someone inside to document Cassie's methods in real time. Her junior analyst, Blake Morrison, is ambitious and financially motivated. Offer him a promotion and 20% raise to quietly extract her trade secrets while maintaining her trust. Tell him this is part of his career development." Blake had been a plant. For 3 years, while I'd mentored him, trusted him, taught him everything I knew, he'd been secretly documenting my methods to help the company replace me. The emails included progress reports Blake sent to Marcus every month, detailing what he'd learned from shadowing me. Cassie explained her predictive modeling framework today. I documented the algorithm structure. She's very trusting and open when teaching. This is easier than expected. Reading those emails felt like being stabbed. Blake, who I'd trained and supported and advocated for, had been betraying me the entire time. Every mentoring session, every piece of advice, every framework I'd shared, he'd been feeding it to Marcus to build my replacement. In April 2024, Derek and Haley completed their forensic analysis of data mined. Haley had gained access to the AI's training data through court-ordered discovery. Her report was devastating to TechCore's defense. Of the 8,947 documents used to train data mined, 8,891 had been created solely by me. The remaining 56 were templates or documents I'd co-created with other analysts. Haley's analysis showed that 97% of DataMine's analytical outputs were direct derivatives of my methodologies. The AI used my frameworks, my phrasing, my visualization structures. When she ran comparison tests, the AI's reports were statistically indistinguishable from reports I would have written. "This isn't an AI that learned general analytical principles," Haley wrote in her report. "This is an AI that was trained to replicate one specific person's approach." It's essentially a Cassie-Thornton simulator. TechCore had also filed patents. In July 2023, while I was still training the AI, the company had filed 3 patents for novel data analysis methodologies and advanced predictive modeling frameworks. The patents described my methods, algorithms I developed over years, but listed Richard Keller and Marcus Webb as the inventors. They'd patented my work under their names without telling me. The case went to trial in June 2024 in Travis County District Court. Judge Patricia Morales presided. TechCore's strategy was to argue that everything I'd created was work product that belonged to them under my employment contract. Their attorneys presented a standard intellectual property agreement I'd signed in 2008, stating that all work product created during employment belongs to the company. Ms. Thornton was an employee, TechCore's lead attorney argued. She was paid a salary to develop analytical methods for the company's use. Those methods belonged to TechCore, not to her personally. The fact that we found a more efficient way to implement those methods, through AI rather than human labor, doesn't change ownership. Derek's counter-argument was more nuanced. Your Honor, this case isn't about standard work product. This is about proprietary methodologies that Ms. Thornton developed through 15 years of creative intellectual labor. These aren't just reports or analyses. They're original frameworks, algorithms, and approaches that constitute protectable intellectual property. Ms. Thornton developed many of these methods outside work hours, refined them through personal study and experimentation, and they represent her unique creative contribution to her field. TechCore didn't just use these methods internally. They extracted them, turned them into a commercial product, patented them under executives' names without Ms. Thornton's knowledge or consent, and then fired her to eliminate the salary expense while profiting from her stolen IP. This isn't efficient business practice, it's theft. The trial lasted 6 days. Day 1. I testified about my career at TechCore, the development of my methodologies, and the data mine training process. I explained how I'd spent evenings and weekends thinking through problems, developing frameworks, refining my approach. I testified that I'd been told the AI would augment my work, not replace me. Miss Thornton, Derek asked, when you uploaded 8,947 documents to train DataMind, did you believe you were creating your own replacement? No. I believed I was creating a tool that would make me more valuable. I thought I was securing my future at the company, not eliminating it. Day 2. Haley Wu testified as our expert witness. She walked the jury through her forensic analysis, showing side-by-side comparisons of my reports and the AI's outputs. She demonstrated that the AI used my exact frameworks, my signature phrases, even my specific ways of explaining complex concepts. This AI isn't doing general data analysis, Haley said. It's performing Cassie-Thornton's analysis. 97% of its outputs are derivatives of her proprietary methods. It's essentially a digital copy of her professional expertise. TechCore's attorneys tried to argue that similarity didn't prove theft, that good analysis naturally follows similar patterns. Haley demolished that argument. I've analyzed hundreds of AI systems, she said. Normal analytical AI shows variation based on diverse training data. DataMind shows no meaningful variation from Ms. Thornton's approach because it was trained almost exclusively on her work. This isn't convergence toward best practices. This is replication of one person's unique methodology. Day 3. We entered the internal emails into evidence. Derek read them aloud to the jury. Richard's email about extracting my methodology and eliminating my salary line item. Marcus's plan to position DataMind as career development while actually preparing to fire me. The emails about hiring Blake to document my methods while maintaining my trust. Blake's monthly progress reports describing what he'd learned from shadowing me. I watched the jury's faces as Derek read. Several looked angry. One woman, a Hispanic woman in her 50s, who'd introduced herself during jury selection as a teacher, looked like she wanted to cry. Day 4. Blake Morrison testified. He'd been subpoenaed by both sides. TechCore wanted him to testify that he'd simply learned from me as part of normal mentorship. We wanted him to admit he'd been planted to extract my methods. Derek examined him first. Mr. Morrison, in March 2021, did Richard Keller offer you a promotion and 20% raise? Yes. What were you asked to do in exchange for that promotion? Blake hesitated. He looked at TechCore's attorneys, who'd clearly coached him. I was asked to assist with the data mine project. How specifically? By documenting analytical methods used by senior analysts. Specifically by documenting Cassie Thornton's methods, correct? Yes. Did you tell Miss Pev Thornton that you were being paid to document her methods for the purpose of training an AI that would replace her? No. Did you tell her you'd received a promotion and raise for this work? No. Why not? Blake's voice cracked. Because they told me not to. Marcus said if Cassie knew what we were doing, she wouldn't cooperate. He said we needed her trust to get complete access to her methods. So you pretended to be her mentee while actually extracting her trade secrets to help the company fire her? TechCore's attorney objected. Judge Morales sustained it, but the jury had heard it. Mr. Morrison, Derek continued, did you feel guilty about what you were doing? Blake started crying, actually crying on the witness stand. Yes. Cassie was kind to me. She taught me everything. She went to bat for me when I made mistakes. She believed in me. And I was betraying her the whole time. Why did you do it? Because they offered me money. Because I wanted the promotion. Because I told myself it was just business and she'd be fine. He looked directly at me. Cassie, I'm so sorry. I was wrong. What we did to you was wrong. TechCore's attorneys looked like they wanted to disappear. Blake's testimony had destroyed their defense. Day 5. Richard Keller and Marcus Webb testified. Richard tried to maintain that this was standard business practice. We invested in AI to improve efficiency. Many companies are doing this. It's the future of work. Derek cross-examined him. Mr. Keller, in your May 2021 email, you wrote that you wanted to extract Miss Thornton's methodology and eliminate her salary. That doesn't sound like improving efficiency. That sounds like theft and termination. Those were internal communications using casual language. You also wrote that this would generate $15 million in revenue from licensing her expertise. Did you ever offer Miss Thornton a percentage of that revenue? No. Why not, if it was her expertise you were licensing? Because it was company property, which you patented under your name and Mr. Webb's name, not Miss Thornton's, correct? Richard didn't answer directly. The patents list the company's executives. Did Miss Thornton invent the methods described in those patents? She contributed to their development. Did she invent them? Yes. And you patented her inventions under your name without telling her? The company has the right to patent employee innovations. Did your employment agreement give you the right to steal employee innovations, fire the employee, and sell their work for millions while paying them 2 weeks severance? TechCore's attorney objected. Judge Morales sustained it, but looked sympathetic to Derek's point. Day 6 closing arguments. TechCore's attorney argued that this was a straightforward employment dispute. I'd been an employee, created work product, and was terminated when my position became redundant. Companies have the right to use AI for efficiency. Derek's closing was passionate. Ladies and gentlemen, this isn't about whether companies can use AI. This is about theft. TechCore didn't just use AI for efficiency. They deliberately extracted 15 years of Cassie Thornton's creative intellectual work, turned it into a commercial product, patented it under executives' names, and fired her to eliminate her salary while profiting from her stolen expertise. They planted a fake mentee to betray her trust. They lied about the purpose of the AI project. They patented her inventions without her knowledge. They offered her 2 weeks severance after 15 years, while planning to make $15 million from her work. Cassie Thornton didn't train a helpful assistant. She was tricked into creating her own replacement so the company could steal everything she'd built and sell it. This jury has the power to send a message. In this new age of AI, workers have rights. Their intellectual contributions matter. Their creative work deserves protection. Companies can't just steal 15 years of someone's expertise, fire them, and profit from their stolen work. Find for Cassie Thornton. Award her the damages she deserves, and tell companies everywhere that this kind of theft won't be tolerated. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. I sat in the courthouse hallway with Daniel, my hands shaking. 15 years of my career, 8 months of work on the case, everything I'd fought for, it all came down to 12 strangers in a room. At 4:30 p.m. they came back. In the case of Thornton versus TechCore Solutions, on the count of intellectual property theft, we fined for the plaintiff. I grabbed Daniel's hand. On the count of wrongful termination, we fined for the plaintiff. On the count of fraud, we fined for the plaintiff. We award the plaintiff $2.3 million in compensatory and punitive damages. The courtroom erupted. I started crying. Daniel was crying. Derek was shaking my hand, grinning. TechCore's attorneys sat frozen. Judge Morales banged her gavel. Additionally, the defendant is ordered to immediately cease operation of the data-mined AI system and withdraw all pending patents based on Ms. Thornton's proprietary methods. A public apology and retraction will be issued acknowledging the intellectual property theft. We won. We actually won. Richard Keller and Marcus Webb resigned within a week. The board of directors forced them out to avoid further liability. TechCore paid the $2.3 million settlement in full by August 2024. The case became national news. Woman who trained her own AI replace wins $2.3 million, the headlines read. CNN covered it. NPR did a feature. The Wall Street Journal ran an analysis of intellectual property rights in the age of AI. I did interviews explaining what had happened and why it mattered. This isn't just about me, I said in one TV interview. This is about every worker who's afraid of being replaced by AI. Companies need to understand they can't steal workers' expertise, turn it into AI, and discard the human who created it. People's intellectual contributions have value. We have rights. The publicity opened doors I never expected. In September 2024, I was contacted by other workers who'd experienced similar situations. A marketing director whose company had trained an AI on her campaigns, then fired her. A software engineer whose proprietary code had been used to build an AI tool without his consent. A graphic designer whose entire portfolio had been fed into an AI generator, which the company then used to eliminate her position. They all wanted to know, could they sue like I did? With the settlement money, I founded AI Workers Coalition in October 2024. AWC is a nonprofit providing legal support, resources, and advocacy for workers whose jobs and intellectual property are threatened or stolen by AI systems. We connect workers with attorneys who understand IP law in the age of AI. We help them document their proprietary contributions. We provide template contracts and agreements that protect worker-created AI training data. In our first year, we helped 127 workers file cases similar to mine. We won or settled 89 of them, recovering over $47 million in total damages. In February 2025, I was invited to testify before Congress about AI labor rights. I sat in front of the House Committee on Education and Labor and told my story. I explained how companies were using AI to extract worker expertise and eliminate positions. I presented data on the growing trend of knowledge theft, where workers train AI systems without understanding they're creating their own replacements. Artificial intelligence is a tool, I testified. But like any tool, it can be used ethically or unethically. Right now, workers have almost no protection when companies use AI to steal their expertise. We need laws that protect intellectual property created by workers. We need requirements for informed consent when workers train AI. We need labor protections that prevent companies from using AI as a backdoor to mass termination without proper severance or compensation. My testimony, combined with advocacy from labor unions and other AI experts, led to the AI Workers Protection Act, passed in March 2025. The law requires informed consent before workers train AI on their proprietary methods. Fair compensation when worker-created IP is used in commercial AI systems. Protection from retaliation for workers who refuse to train AI replacements. Mandatory disclosure when AI is being developed to replace positions. Enhanced severance requirements, minimum 1 month per year of service, when AI-driven terminations occur. It's not perfect. It doesn't stop companies from using AI, but it gives workers rights in the process. It's now December 2026, 3 years after I was fired. I run AI Workers Coalition full-time. We have a staff of 12 offices in Austin and San Francisco, and partnerships with labor organizations nationwide. We're expanding internationally, working with worker groups in the EU and UK on similar protections. TechCore Solutions went through a major restructuring after the lawsuit. The new CEO issued a public apology to me and implemented new policies around AI development and worker rights. They actually hired me as a consultant in 2025, paid me $50,000 to help them create ethical AI training practices. I took the money and donated it to AWC. Blake Morrison reached out to me in January 2025. He'd left TechCore and was working as a data analyst at a smaller firm. He asked if we could meet for coffee. I almost said no, but something made me agree. We met at a cafe in South Austin. Blake looked different, older, tired, less confident. "Cassie, I don't expect you to forgive me," he said. "What I did was unforgivable. I betrayed your trust. I helped them steal from you. I did it for money and advancement, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life." I didn't say anything. "I've been seeing a therapist," Blake continued, "trying to understand why I made those choices, trying to be a better person. I know my testimony helped your case, but that doesn't make up for what I did to you for 3 years." "No," I agreed, "it doesn't. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry, truly sorry. You deserved better than what I gave you." I looked at him for a long moment. "Blake, you're right, I deserve better. But what's done is done. You can't change what you did. You can only choose to be different going forward." "I'm trying." "Good, because there are a lot of young analysts out there who need real mentors, not people who pretend to care while documenting their secrets. If you want to make amends, be the person I thought you were. Be someone worth trusting." Blake nodded, tears in his eyes. "Thank you for meeting with me. I know I don't deserve your kindness." "You don't," I said. "But I'm giving it anyway, because holding on to anger hurts me more than it hurts you." I haven't spoken to Blake since. I don't know if he changed. I hope he did. As for me, I'm building something that matters. Every time a worker contacts AWC saying their company is training AI on their methods without consent, we help them document their IP and understand their rights. Every time a company tries to pull what TechCore did, extracting expertise and discarding the human, we help workers fight back. Every time Congress considers legislation that affects AI and labor, we testify and advocate for worker protections. I lost my job at TechCore. I lost 15 years of accumulated work and relationships. I lost the career path I'd envisioned. But I found something more important: purpose. The future of work is going to involve AI. That's inevitable. But the question is whether that future will be one where AI empowers workers or exploits them, where companies and employees benefit together, or where companies steal expertise and discard the humans who created it. I'm fighting to make sure it's the former. My kids ask me sometimes if I'm angry about what happened, if I hate TechCore for firing me, if I hate Blake for betraying me. I was angry, I tell them, for a long time, but anger isn't useful forever. What's useful is taking that hurt and turning it into something that helps other people. That's what AI Workers Coalition is. It's my hurt turned into help. My betrayal turned into protection for others. I look at the 127 workers we've helped in our first year, and I think if I hadn't been fired, if I hadn't been betrayed, if I hadn't fought back and won, none of these people would have gotten justice. Sometimes the worst thing that happens to you becomes the reason you can help prevent it from happening to others. TechCore tried to replace me with an AI. They thought they could steal my expertise and eliminate the person who created it. What they didn't realize is that humans are more than their work product. We're not just collections of methods and algorithms that can be copied and discarded. We adapt. We learn. We fight. We grow. I adapted by learning IP law. I learned how to advocate and organize. I fought back in court and won. And I grew into someone who protects others facing the same exploitation I faced. That's something no AI can replicate. The human capacity to turn betrayal into justice and pain into purpose. Cassie-Bot is gone. Shut down by court order. DataMind is dead. But Cassie Thornton is very much alive, and I'm just getting started.